Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And man, oh man, do I absolutely love these kinds of stories. A very similar one, in fact, from a couple months ago was, I believe, my most viral piece of all time. A Biden rally or an Antifa rally getting taken over by Trump supporters. You just can't match the enthusiasm, and I don't mean it in a violent way. See, that's the beauty about the right wing. That's the difference, the contrast between the left and right. The left takes things by force. The left is authoritarian in nature, where the right understands what a peaceful protest is. They understand the right to peaceably assemble, and they understand civil disobedience without turning it into a riot. When's the last time you heard of a right-wing riot? Well, Biden's in a little bit of a sticky scenario here. We've seen him try to schedule rallies during the election season. What happened every single time? They got overrun by Trump supporters, calling him Sleepy Joe, Uncle Joe, and I mean, it's not exactly hard considering his rallies are about 5 people. Well, get this, folks. The Biden inaugural parade has been canceled. The viewing stands are being taken down, the parade is in doubt, and apparently they're afraid it's gonna turn into a massive MAGA rally. So of course, you know this is a story we gotta cover, folks. The man just can't compete with the enthusiasm. He has no enthusiasm, he's a nothing political candidate, and this dynamic further proves it. 80 million vote Joe can't get 80 people in a room, no matter where he goes. So we'll cover that story and then we'll get into some other things, of course. We'll talk about it. I got some interesting stories. I'll give you guys my commentary and I'll try to make this into a coherent video. But before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright, so we got this straight from the Gateway Pundit. Report: Biden's inaugural parade viewing stands taken down. Parade is in doubt. They're afraid it's going to turn into a massive MAGA rally. There are reports tonight that Beijing Biden canceled his inaugural parade. We are still looking to confirm this. However, we know for certain the parade viewing stands were being taken down this week. Parade viewing stands dismantled near White House as Biden team seeks to discourage inauguration crowds. And of course, he's getting absolutely blasted on Twitter. Joe Biden parade. This video right over here. I did a little bit of a political fact check on that one, and turns out it came back scored as accurate. David Chapman says they're afraid it'll turn into a MAGA parade, like all of Biden's rallies turned into MAGA rallies. The Election Wizard says, I'm hearing rumors that Biden inauguration parade was canceled. That's a real bummer for the 10 people that planned to go, but will now have to cancel their trips. And of course, I gotta include this one. Wayne Dunlap writes, Biden couldn't get 50 people to see him even before the coup. Lost all 27 out of 27 House toss-ups. Lost 18 out of 19 bellwether counties, lost Ohio, Florida, Iowa, won a record low 17% of counties, and had less Black and Hispanic support. But we are to believe he shattered the popular vote record. To which John Nicosaya writes, Scoop, the Joe Biden inaugural parade has been canceled. And so obviously we know exactly why they canceled it. There's a couple reasons. Firstly, because of course, the optics of it, there would be maybe like 5 people there. It's not exactly historical by any measure. No one would be excited for the fact of Sleepy Joe getting put into office. And of course, you know that a ton of MAGA rally people would be there, considering the January 6th event that's about to hit the streets, and then pile on top of that the potential to troll Joe Biden and make his inauguration all about Donald Trump would be absolutely hilarious, and I pretty much guarantee you it would happen. And the Biden team, of course, they know this. They've been dealing with this exact phenomenon for months now, and so here we go. They cancel it, and I'm sure they're going to try to make it seem about being responsible about the COVID pandemic, when we know better than that. But now let's talk about the pro-Trump rally that's planned for January 6th. DC official slams pro-Trump rally plan to oppose Biden's election. Officials in the District of Columbia are characterizing a pro-Trump rally planned for January 6th as backed by extremists, but organizers say the event will feature well-respected conservative activists and elected lawmakers from across the country. And of course, what do you expect? Rules for thee, but not for me. Rules for conservatives, and then rules for Democrats, or of course, a lack thereof. Democrats can do no wrong. They can do wrong with impunity. Republicans can do right and then get castigated as if they were doing wrong. Every single time Republicans march on Washington, every single time Republicans gather, it's peaceful. 99.9% of the time. The idea of mostly peaceful protests is true. Just for Republicans, it's wholeheartedly untrue for Democrats. And we know this. There is historical evidence to prove that exact idea. Whenever Republicans assemble and the violence starts, it's always because Antifa or BLM BLM dweebs are there to harass. They're there to antagonize and instigate, and it happens each and every single time. And I could pretty much promise you that it's going to happen on January 6th. The moment the event is over, the moment people are headed home after the event, headed to their hotels, maybe going to pick up some food on the way home, headed to their cars, they will be assaulted and harassed by Antifa black-clad BLM dweebs on the streets, groups attacking families and the vulnerable, and most likely getting BTFO'd as a response. And you know what, folks? The proof is abundantly obvious. Democrats just don't ever want to admit it because, let's be honest, they're liars. Peak liar of this exact idea, although he's lying a little bit less now because he's realized it's such a level of craziness and derangedness, anarchy that cannot be dealt with by basic capitulation, that he's finally maybe telling the truth a little bit. We're talking, of course, about Mayor Ted Wheeler, who capitulated to the mob for however long during the election season to not give Trump a win. Well, here's exact proof that the instigators and the attackers and the anarchists and the extremists are not on the right wing, but rather the left. Mayor Ted Wheeler is getting harassed everywhere he goes. Look at this.
You know what? Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.
No, it's all right. This is a public place.
Goodbye.
This is a public place, and we're allowed to be here to talk to our...
No, you're actually not. You're actually not.
You're not allowed to gas us. You're not allowed to tear gas us.
Excuse me. I believe you are the only mayors in the United States that would be happy.
Okay, but you already gassed us for how many days? You signed like a commitment for the rest of our lives. The way back machine, the gas that you use on us will affect us for the rest of our lives. I understand. You're a criminal and you have blood on your hands.
So it's obviously no surprise that he's singing a different tune. The man can't even live his life, and he's a leftist. Imagine what these leftists do to right-wingers. Well, you don't gotta imagine because we've seen it a million times. They're absolutely despicable. But where is the Democrat establishment calling them out? Ted Wheeler called them out a little bit. I mean, they're driving him up a wall, I'm sure, but it's an absolute double standard. DC officials calling out extremists and right-wingers during a MAGA march. Where were they for the 200 days of left-wing riots? Absolutely nowhere. Speaking of two rules, Facebook removes 1.7 million member group Joe Biden is not my president without warning, but anti-Trump not my president page is still up after 4 years. Democrats are allowed to question the results of an election. Democrats are allowed to say that Trump is not my president. Trump supporters, however, Republicans, are not given the same privilege. Talk about being unconstitutional. This is an attack on basic American principles and basic American rights of freedom of expression. That, my friends, is political discrimination as clear as day. But also, speaking about contesting the results of an election, I should have put this in the previous video that I made covering this exact topic, but it broke after I had already recorded the video, so I'll just show you guys this now. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has just now on the House floor signaled support for efforts to further examine Electoral College results. About damn time. And so this is the idea we've been talking about on this channel for the last couple weeks now, that it's very possible, it's actually likely in fact, that more Republicans plan on contesting the results of the election in 2020 on January 6th than you might expect. Of course, Mitt Romney and the other dorks won't, but I wouldn't be too surprised if more people start coming out of the woodworks ready to contest, start a serious public debate, and more importantly, apply enough pressure to start an audit. This isn't something that Democrats can just get away with saying, oh, shut up and accept the results without any question. This isn't something that you can just brush off. We're talking about a serious group of voters, right wing. I mean, obviously the establishment doesn't exactly care about them, but a group of voters that are disenfranchised, depressed, and discouraged over the democratic process. That's what the 2020 election has led to, and it also makes sense. And that's leading to the possibility also of the Senate runoffs being affected as the wave of depression hits those voters. I have never seen in my life so many people who are saying, why even vote? It doesn't even matter. It's a rigged system. Democrats love to virtue signal about disenfranchised voters. I'd say that's a great example of it. But it's not time to get discouraged because, of course, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are on the ticket in Georgia. And you gotta be an absolute liar, an absolute propaganda spreader to get called out by CNN about your abundant lies. We all know what Jon Ossoff said about Kelly Loeffler, quote, campaigning with a Klansman, an outright lie. Slander, such a despicable lie, in fact, that I think she should take him to court. And such a lie that even Jake Tapper called him out. Check this out.
You said that, quote, Kelly Loeffler has been campaigning with a Klansman, unquote. That's not true. I mean, it is true that a former member of the Klan took a photo with Senator Loeffler at a campaign event. Her campaign says she didn't know who he was at the time, and she has condemned him. I'm sure you've taken photos with thousands of strangers. Isn't it important for candidates to tell the truth? All right, but just to be clear, she was not campaigning with a Klansman. That wasn't true, what you said.
So lots at stake, folks. People need to seriously wake up. What happens in Georgia will determine the future of America. A prosperous future or a future of big crony establishment government politics, government control, less money in your pockets, less rights, less freedoms, and worst of all, oh, God help us all, more Democrats. But that's what I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. Now I gotta get back to work because, of course, there's a whole lot of hypocrisy that must be exposed on a daily basis. You guys know that it's a daily gig, so I'm gonna get to that. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.